a threat to our nation and our way of life. This move, if it happens, could put a slow on visa processing and potentially also place a financial strain on the schools that rely on foreign students' higher tuition fees. NAFSA, the Association of International Educators, which advocates for foreign students, said in a statement the idea that the embassies have time, capacity, and tax dollars are being spent this way is very problematic. International students are not a threat to this country. If anything, they're an incredible asset to this country. According to one report, Meta, which owns Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram, declined to comment, and a spokesperson for Google, X, TikTok, Blue Sky, Reddit, Discord, and Snap each did not respond to Politico. Several hundred people protested in support of foreign students at Harvard yesterday. They were also sounding off about Trump administration's efforts to cut off federal funding. China also sounded off on this. They send hundreds of thousands of students to American universities every year. They called on the U.S. to protect the interests and the rights of international students. Dana.
All right, Jackie Heinrich, thank you for that update this morning.
This is truly the greatest political scandal our country has ever seen. We had unelected, radical left White House staffers who nobody knew their names running the most powerful country in the history of the world. And the Democrat Party was in a complete alliance to cover it up.
Well, now, Republicans still pushing for a cover-up for President Biden's mental decline. The oversight committee now ready to subpoena Biden's doctors and staffers if they do not comply with questioning. Kevin McCarthy's got thoughts. He's standing by, but first for the news, live in D.C. Asha Osney is on that today. Asha, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, Bill. So yes, Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer tells me that he's ready to drop those subpoenas if former President Biden's doctor and 4 other staffers do not respond to his request for an interview by tomorrow's deadline. So take a look. These are the people that they are interested in hearing from, sitting down, and speaking to as they focus on possible misuse of the auto pen. You've heard the president talk about this. President Biden, former President Biden's administration using it to sign pardons and executive orders, some that are still being challenged in court today. So Comer also told me that he is willing to expand those summons to former First Lady Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and former Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre if that is where their investigation leads them.
Obviously, we're interested in the Jean-Pierre. We're interested in people like Ian Sams. We're also interested in Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. So, but first step is bring these lower level employees in. We believe these employees that most people have never heard of had a huge amount of influence in the use of the auto pen.
Meanwhile, Democrats keep defending Biden amid those health rumors. One strategist posted photos of the 82-year-old carrying his own briefcase and said, battling stage 4 cancer, yet he's still carrying his own bag through the airport. And then a journalist mocked the claim, saying that he has cancer, he's not in hospice. Many from Biden's Oval Office have stayed quiet amid this alleged cover-up, but remain active, got jobs, they're working. Ron Klain is Airbnb's Chief Legal Officer. Anita Dunn now working with the Super PAC Future Forward. Mike Donilon is a Harvard Fellow, and Bob Bauer teaches at NYU Law. So the question is, what happens if the Oversight Committee finds any wrongdoing? And Bill, Chairman Comer tells me that he would then send criminal referrals to AG Pam Bondi. So stay tuned.
Okay, we shall. Aisha, thanks. Nice to see you on that today. Dana?
And the former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, joins us now. Thank you so much for being here with us on this Wednesday. Here's a headline from The Hill. No repeat of Biden. A medical panel must oversee president's annual physicals. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think you've got a doctor that lays out the information. And the one thing I see of this President Trump, he's pretty open about his health care. But my concern, especially on that last report, is I would go deeper. Because I believe these Democratic leaders knew of this. Because I spoke out and I was attacked. They were in the same meetings that I was in, that you watched President Biden not being there. And they not only were silent, they told the public something totally different. And then when you look even further, especially with this new book, like a Joe Scarborough, he openly would attack me and try to disname my ability to say what I happened inside these meetings and say President Biden was stronger and smarter than he's ever been. was this a work of people together trying to mislead the American public? I think we've got to look much deeper and much further. And then with that information, what do we need to come out with our presidents? I'd like to know what the health is of every president.
Okay, I mean, you've been on the Hill, you know how this works. I wonder what information you get from it in the end. I wonder what it leads to in the end. I'm not quite sure what that answer is, depending on whether or not you get these interviews or whether or not they take a pass. On the flip side, let's talk about today. All right, here we go. Political playbook saying Trump's media availability since Inauguration Day. This is astounding, okay? I mean, I don't think any president's ever done it this way. 111 out of 138 days gives him an 80% hit rate. That's pretty big accessibility.
I think that's probably the biggest around the world. But it's not just, you're saying you have 111 days of 138, but there's times of those 111 days that he's open for question for hours and taking whatever anybody asks him. And it'd be earlier in the morning, later in the afternoon, and later in the day. This is probably the most transparent presidency we have ever seen. Plus, it's also he's transforming, but he's letting the American public and the world know at the exact same time.
Here's another thing which I've been wanting to ask you about. So the Democrats are throwing $20 million at an effort to basically reshape their messaging because they want to figure out how to talk to men. And here's a little sampling of Democrats using some left-wing buzzwords.
Power, greed, and corruption is taking over this country like never before. Oligarchy.
Thanks to Donald Trump, we now know what oligarchy is about.
We have a password, but we need generational change.
We're building coalitions and building communities by moving for justice and peace and equity.
And it's not working. Here's from the Washington Post. Democrat troubles revive debate over the buzzwords from intersectionality to equity. Many say jargon is alienating key voters, but progressives say inclusive language is vital. How are they going to work this out?
The way they're going to work this out, I don't want to give the Democrats tell them how to solve their problem. What they really need is let new people run. I mean, you're dealing with a Schumer, Keene, Nancy Pelosi. I would grab new people. Don't let Washington pick them. Go out in the community and let those actually run. The one thing the Democratic Party has done as well is they don't allow Democrats to run. They want to pick before they even have a primary. They push people out. Have an open primary, let open ideas happen, and the Democratic Party as a whole will decide. At the end of the day, it will be a much different candidate. If I was a Democrat candidate in office, I'd run against Democrats today and against their leadership. And I think you'd be very successful.
All right, we'll see how that goes. Kevin, nice to see you, sir. Back in Washington, D.C. You enjoy that tour there in
And the rain is sounded like where Jackie was in the city. There are new details on how a former police chief convicted of murder busted out of an Arkansas prison over the weekend. Investigators looking into whether he got help from the inside. Garrett Tenney has the latest. Hi, Garrett.
Yeah, Dana, this isn't just any convict who escaped. Grant Harden is a former police chief known as the Devil in the Ozarks. Officials say the 56-year-old escaped the medium security prison Sunday afternoon by impersonating a corrections officer. And this image from a security camera shows him walking out of the Calico Rock prison wearing what looks like a correctional uniform after a prison officer opened a secure gate. Investigators are now trying to figure out how Harden got that uniform and if he had any help getting out. But even more pressing is tracking down the convicted killer and rapist who's now on the loose in the rural part of northern Arkansas. Police are using dogs, drones, and helicopters to search the rugged Ozark Mountains and warning folks who live in the areas to lock their doors and to be on the lookout. Harden was serving a 30-year sentence for killing James Appleton, a water department employee in the small town of Gateway in 2017, months after Harden was forced to step down as the town's police chief. The mayor of Gateway, who is Appleton's sister, says her town is in shock and on edge.
It's very hard to know now that this crazy guy has escaped. 30 years wasn't enough. He should have got life. Things happen, and that's all he could get. This time, they need to throw away the key.
Harden was also serving a 50-year sentence for what had been the unsolved rape of an elementary school teacher in 1997 when Harden was a police officer. A DNA match from the murder case led to that conviction. Officials say Hardin should be considered extremely dangerous. Folks there need to be on the lookout. Dana?
All right, Garrett, Tenny, fascinating story and a scary one too. Thank you. There is brand new video that shows the arrest of 2 of the escaped New Orleans inmates. Watch here.
Yeah.
Dumbo, good hands? Shut up.
It all went down Monday after a high-speed chase that ended near Huntsville, Texas, about 70 miles from Houston. At this hour, 2 of the 10 fugitives are still at large. 14 people have been arrested, accused of helping them escape, and we have lots more on all of this from New Orleans in the next hour.
Amazing video to watch there, huh? And watch this too. Watch this story. Russia rejecting President Trump's push to hold Ukraine peace talks at the Vatican. Will the talks happen at all? Dangerous times on this story. Plus this.
Constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles even if they are launched from other sides of the world.
President Trump says Canada is reconsidering his offer to become the 51st state in exchange for protection under the Golden Dome. So what would that look like, Bill?
Good question for the Maple Leaf, right? Also, the president pardoning the reality TV couple convicted in a $30 million fraud scheme. How the children of the couple are now reacting.
I still don't believe it's real. I'm freaking out. President Trump didn't just commute their sentences. He gave them a full, unconditional pardon. So for that, I am forever grateful.
Ever worry that you're drinking too much? Take back control with ORHealth. ORHealth provides access to medication proven to help. A daily pill to drink less, or to quit drinking altogether. Text Fox News to 710-710 to learn more.
You need new replacement windows, but you're just not sure if they're in the budget this year, right? I'm Brian Gary here with Ted Coons from Renewal by Anderson, and he's here to talk about how to make window replacement more affordable.
Well, first, Brian, you don't have to do them all. You could just replace your worst windows first. Or another way to make them affordable is to change the style of window. For example, you could do a gliding window instead of a casement. We have a lot of ways to make window projects really affordable.
Compared to other window companies, you have a completely different business model.
Yeah, with other companies, there's just too many people involved in the process. There's the manufacturer, the seller, and then the installer, and then the customer. And if you call with a problem, that's when they say, oh, well, we're the manufacturer. You have to call the installer for that problem, or vice versa. We're the full-service replacement window division of Anderson. With us, there's no passing the buck. At Renewal by Anderson, we sell, build, install, and warrant our windows and patio doors. So if there's ever an issue, we take full responsibility for it.
Why don't you sell by the window?
It doesn't matter if it's a $200 window or $1,200 window. A lot of vinyl windows just don't last. For energy efficiency and beauty, there's a much better option. Our Windows Fibrex composite material is available in 9 designer colors, and it's much more durable than vinyl. Well, Fibrex is low maintenance like vinyl, but stronger than vinyl. And it's beautiful like wood, but doesn't require the upkeep of wood.
Save $400 on every window and save $850 on every patio door and entry door with no money down, no monthly payments, and no interest for 12 months. At Renewal by Anderson, we want to take care of the people who take care of us. That's why we're proud to offer an additional $300 discount to our military. We truly appreciate you. Call 1-800-704-4200.
Well, you're in the big leagues now.
How was your vacation, sir?
Oh, I needed one.
With your 10% loyalty program discount, that's $225 for the night.
Not bad.
$155 for the night.
Hold on. How?
It's easy when you know where to look. Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites, so you can save up to 40%.
Trivago's my secret tactic.
Hotel? Trivago.
Hi. Oh, hey, what are you playing? You know what, don't answer that. Is it that puzzle game, Royal Kingdom? Yep, it is. I can see it from here. Can you believe they don't have any ads? It's really wild, isn't it?
I'm sorry, are you talking to me?
I was. Did you not hear anything I just said? Okay, well, we're gonna have to start from the beginning then. I love Royal Kingdom. I read Wi-Fi, and they do a very good royal accent. So we should...
Is it too late to
those seats?
Good idea. I'll come to you. It's gonna be such a fun flight.
When I started Walton Goggins goggle glasses, I had no idea what I was doing. But GoDaddy Aero does, using AI to build a logo, website, and social content, so I can let the world know. See, goggles ain't goggins. They don't belong in goggles.
Threats exclusive with Cash Patel. From implementing reforms to training agents, TFBI Director provides an inside look from the Bureau's Academy. Tonight on Special Report.
Alex and Christian have been great additions to ECR, but really, Gary's been a game changer. They delivered our Grab a House coffee pods and just started never left.
What you might want to do is put a little more grease on the bearings here. Gary's advice doesn't make a lot of sense.
I would check that if I was doing that.
I tell you what, his lattes. Oh.
It's too early for this. Where's the coffee
Looks like
machine?
you need a Java house. Who needs a coffee machine? Java house. Cold brew coffee.
Amazing.
Really smooth.
Yeah.
Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan Silver Dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Call now to secure 1 ounce silver bars made in 99.9% pure silver and made in the USA. Don't miss out on this special deal, regularly priced at $49.95, but for $9.95. Limited to 25 bars per customer. The more you buy, the more you save. Up to $250 in savings and free shipping on every order. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan Silver Dollar. That's a $59.95 value free. Call 1-800-859-1629 now to secure your 1 ounce Morgan Silver Bars for only $39.95. That's 1-800-859-1629. So now new this morning, President Zelensky saying that Ukraine's defense minister spoke on the phone with him. Russia's negotiating team in Istanbul, the Ukrainian leader pushing for his country to be invited to the upcoming NATO summit, saying by not doing so it would be a victory for Putin over the alliance. But Putin wants in writing that NATO will never expand in order to get peace in Ukraine. So when it comes now, as President Trump warns Putin to think carefully about his next move, posting this, Putin doesn't realize is that if it were not for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia, and I mean really bad. He's playing with fire. Dan Hoffman knows it all too well, studied Putin all of his life, lived in Moscow, station chief there, and Dan, good morning to you. Good morning. We've reached a critical point here, I believe, in this war. And if Putin does not want peace,
Yeah, Bill, I think it's important not only to see the world through the twisted KGB eyes of Vladimir Putin, but also to see ourselves through Putin eyes. Because Putin is a KGB guy who's sizing up the president and his administration. Putin knows that President Trump promised to end the war within a day when he was on the campaign trail. He knows that the United States would like to expand our commercial relationship with Russia, and he's certainly well aware of the contentious relationship between President Trump and President Zelensky. Putin probably thinks he has some leverage right now to carry on this war. The penultimate question that I think President Trump might want to be asking Director of CIA Ratcliffe is, would Putin even be interested ever in stopping the war? This is Putin's war. He's spilled massive amounts of blood and treasure to topple the government of Ukraine, and so far he's failed. I'm not so sure that the war is going to end until Putin is no longer in the Kremlin. I think that's the question we need to be asking. And then a follow-up, what can we do to test that? So we may not know the answer. We haven't really used the leverage we have. We've got secondary sanctions warmed up in the bullpen, thanks to Senator Lindsey Graham and Democrats who have supported that proposal as well. And then we've got arms of Ukraine, Patriot air defense and offensive munitions. So there's a lot more that we can do to test that hypothesis.
Okay, a couple things here. The deputy chair of Russia's security responded to Trump. Regarding Trump's words about Putin playing with fire and really bad things happening to Russia, I only know of one really bad thing, World War III. I hope Trump understands this. He mentioned a number of things there. You know, what can you test? And he listed a number of things there. John Ratcliffe, head of CIA. What are his conversations all about? Overnight, you know, you got the German leader saying that we're going to strike deep into Russia now. And they did. There were drones that reportedly hit a number of different military installations that are building cruise missiles for the war. They're building drones for the war. So that is happening right now. But back to this point that you just mentioned there about Putin. You have to know what he is willing to accept to get peace. That's what you said. What do you think he wants?
Yeah.
We get that.
So I think you know you're getting to Putin a little bit when you hear the nuclear rhetorical brinkmanship. When the Biden administration was talking about giving Ukraine the weapons they needed and when they needed them, that's when Putin's stalking horse, Dmitry Medvedev, the deputy national security advisor, was threatening nuclear war. And that really got to Joe Biden. And I think it really induced the Biden administration not to give Ukraine Javelin anti-tank weapons and aircraft and other things that Ukraine needed when they needed it. But look, Putin's strategic objective has never changed. He wants to topple the government of Ukraine and install a puppet regime. What we need to do is make it clear that's just not possible. And where the rubber's going to meet the road is whether Putin will ever accept that. And I don't know the answer to that question, Bill, and I don't know whether we can know until we really take serious action against Russia in the form of economic pressure that we haven't taken so far, as well as military support to Ukraine. Now, President Zelensky's in Germany right now, and the Germans are talking about giving Ukraine the Taurus long-range ballistic missile. That would be a good thing for Ukraine to have in their arsenal.
Dan, thank you. Coming back real soon. Seems like we're escalating.
All right.
Someone's got to step back here. Otherwise, it's gonna go in a bad direction. Dan Hoffman, thank you for your time today. Appreciate it. 24 minutes past the hour now. Dan.
The CIA posting Hollywood-style videos in a recruiting push for spies in China. So did that work? You better believe it. We have details ahead. Plus, a SpaceX test flight ends in failure, marking another setback for hopes of sending humans to Mars. What went wrong and what it means for Elon Musk's company. Next.
Oh, I hate these things.
Yeah, sometimes you just want a human.
Can we get a human over here?
That's one of the great things about consumer cellular. Their 100% US-based customer service is also 100% human. You don't have to talk to a bunch of robots, just humans in America.
Robots are the worst.
Yeah, I think it's mad at us.
For those 50 and up, get 2 unlimited lines for $30 each with Consumer Cellular.
Hello.
Do you want to play with me?
Sure, you want me to help you with your groceries?
This journey with childhood cancer comes at you in waves. Every day we wake up knowing that our 2-year-old has cancer. It's tough to get through.
The tumor is about the size of a baseball. I believe in the power of hope. And from the very first visit here at St. Jude, it was about hope and love. Because you go in expecting the worst.
You can join the battle to save lives by supporting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Please call, go online, or scan the QR code right now and give $19 a month to make a difference.
Despite the doors of St. Jude, they instantly found hope for my son.
With a gift right now, you can help save lives. Please become a St. Jude Partner in Hope today. Families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food, so they can focus on helping their child live.
For these children to go through what they're going through during this time, and for the supporters to be right there, that means the world. Thank you. It's not enough, thank you.
Join with your credit or debit card for only $19 a month, and we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt you can proudly wear to show your support.
As a mom, you just want to protect them and be there to watch her grow up, because we don't really know what the future holds. And I think that no family should have to be worried about that.
You can make a difference. Become a partner in hope today. Please donate now.
When your home needs work, where do you go? Angie?
That's where Angie came in.
With Angie, find top-rated pros in your area, plus compare quotes and pricing to help you get all your jobs done well. Find top-rated pros in your area at Angie.com.
take Alice and Nature until the day I die. I really like the fact that Balance of Nature has the ingredients that I enjoy for my own physical benefit.
Get 35% off your first set by using discount code FOXNEWS.
These bills are crazy.
She has no idea she's sitting in a gold mine.
She doesn't know that if she owns a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, she can sell all or part of it to Coventry for cash, even a term policy.
Even a term policy?
Even a term
Find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. Call Coventry Direct today at 800-496-9200 or visit coventrydirect.com.
You've asked me that 3 times already.
I did? This is exactly how it started with Mom.
Worried about your brain health? Cerefolin Brain Wellness has a dual-action formula that slows cognitive decline while improving memory, focus, and concentration. Those taking Cerefolin Brain Wellness experience the slower rate of brain shrinkage. Now also available without a prescription at cerefolin.com and Amazon.
It changed my mind.
Neurologists recommend you Cerefolin Brain Wellness.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. Our firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, thousands with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them against those responsible. We have local offices throughout the U.S. Mesothelioma really is all we do, and there is no risk to you. Let us put a plan in place for you and your family. Call now.
Call us at 800-333-4485 or go to mesobook.com.
Enjoy your risk-free trial.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Everybody hear me?
Sure can.
Do you hear me?
I sure can.
So, can you hear well?
Sure can.
Hear well, feel well. From your first appointment, try our new nearly invisible solution risk-free. Call 1-800-234-7090 now.
Okay, we are about 30 seconds away from seeing something really cool, right, Dana? The countdown is on. SpaceX Falcon 9 on the launch pad, Kennedy Space Center, and what looks like an absolutely perfect day on the east coast of Florida. All right, this is part of the Starlink system for SpaceX. That's a low-orbit satellites that rotate around the Earth and give you cell phone ability that you did not have before. Think about the storms in western North Carolina, or think about Ukraine. So here we go, let's watch.
And lift off. Go Falcon, go Starlink.
M1D chamber pressure is down low. Vehicle switching down range. Beautiful.
Looks pretty good, right? Right there, Dana. So there's another trick to this thing. Look. There's a drone ship in the Atlantic. It's called Just Read the Instructions. It's literally called Just Read the Instructions. And it will try to land on that drone ship.
Okay.
And like based on the history here, we can watch it. And Jonathan Siri is one of those folks watching it with us. Jonathan, how goes it? Hello.
Yes, so far so good, Bill. You heard them say "Go Falcon" during the launch. That's referring to the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, which at this point has become a workhorse of the space industry. These rockets take off, and you expect that everything will go according to plan. A little different from Starship, which we saw launching last night. That spacecraft still in research and development, encountered some issues, but Falcon 9, which both launches these uncrewed missions to place Starlink satellites in orbit. In this case, they'll be deploying 27 Starlink satellites. Also, the Falcon 9 can be attached with a Crew Dragon spacecraft, which carries as many as 4 astronauts often to the International Space Station on routine missions. And so what we are right now is a very routine but still impressive sight off of Florida's beautiful space coast.
Jonathan, when do we see, or when would we see this drone ship? Just read the instructions.
So in the launches that I've covered, the booster stage usually attempts a landing about 8 minutes into flight, and they can either land on a drone ship as they're going to attempt today, or they will sometimes land at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station adjacent to Kennedy Space Center. And when that happens, you hear the sonic boom, and even though I know pretty much down to a science when the boom is going to hit, it always catches me off guard. And so, good thing I'm in Atlanta today, because you will not see me jump.
So while you're talking, we saw separation here.
Yeah, so that's the booster stage separating from the main stage of Falcon. So that booster that you saw being jettisoned, it's going to return to Earth and again attempt that landing on the drone ship. Just read the instructions.
Yeah. So listen, the Starlink system is amazing.
Yeah,
just really changing the way the world communicates.
Yeah, I was just looking this up because, we've had an opportunity in our careers to travel to some pretty remote places in the world, and places that, you talk about even rural broadband in America. You can't lay a cable, 25 miles from a town to a ranch. But Starlink is making the world much more accessible to the internet, including places like Zambia, Niger, Costa Rica. It's really pretty incredible, including in the remote wilderness, or even on places like when you went up to the North Pole.
Yes.
Incredible that you were able to communicate. What an incredible advancement and a real great moment of patriotism for America to know that this is one of our companies that can do this.
It really drives home the point that everything's accessible. And it's really never that way in our lifetimes. And it's becoming that way more and more, Jonathan, with every flip-off, such as what we're watching now.
Yeah, it's incredible how NASA and America have been leveraging the commercial space industry. Back in the 1960s, space travel was very expensive, and so it was something that you had to rely on government. Now it's something that's becoming accessible to the commercial sector. You mentioned the Starlink satellites. It's interesting because back in the old days, the original communication satellites, they were way out in what they call geosynchronous orbit, where it orbits over the same location over the equator, and so it's always in what appears to be a fixed location from the land. But the problem with that is it's so far out that you experience what's called latency. You have that proverbial satellite delay where you say, "So Jonathan, what do you think about such and such?" And then you wait a second, and then you get my answer. But with Starlink, these are satellites in low Earth orbit, or LEO, and they're so low that you don't have that same satellite delay. And so if you're talking to someone over a Starlink phone, the conversation is almost as natural as if you're having an Earth-based conversation.
Yeah, well said. Jonathan, thank you. We'll follow this as it continues. And kudos to us. These big space travel is just it's practically routine. And it's not something that should ever be taken for granted, but we just watch it week after week, and it's amazing stuff.
If I could just add one other thing, we have a geopolitical adversary in China, of course, and you're trying to have better relations and economic relations with India. And there's a lot to be done in India in terms of rural broadband and connecting those places where you have lots of brilliant people, but they cannot communicate. But with Starlink, you can, and so that's another positive here.
Great pictures, great stuff, Jonathan. Thank you. And when we see the drone ship land, we'll share that with our viewers. In the meantime, 9:36.
The landing now at the White House, escalating its push to root out anti-Semitism at Harvard, and the administration ordering federal agencies to cancel or redirect $100 million worth of contracts with the school. Bill Bennett is a former education secretary. He's a Fox News contributor. And thank you for being patient while we watch that Starlink satellite rocket head up into space. Something that's right here on Earth is this fight between Trump administration and Harvard. It escalated a little bit yesterday. How do you see things today?
Yeah, well, Harvard's been brought back to Earth, that's for sure. Look, this fight with Harvard has many dimensions. And just to put it in perspective, Dana, early in the last century, President Woodrow Wilson called Harvard. He wanted to speak to the head man there, the president there. The operator put him on hold, and then listen to this. The operator said, "Mr. Wilson, the president will speak to you now." Who's the president? Okay. Now, President holds all the cards. And the latest thing that the president has done is to say, maybe no foreign students coming to Harvard next year. This has really thrown people off balance because they're about, a third of the student body. So, he's making it difficult for Harvard. He's sending a message to Harvard. He's talking about, taking the money and putting it in trade schools. Some of this he can do. Some of this, I think, in court he may not be able to do. Primarily the contracts which have already been signed. I don't think they can revoke those. But let me just point out one very interesting thing that people will know. About a third of the students, foreign students studying in America, are Chinese students. According to Chinese law, PRC law data, every one of those students is an agent of the state. They are to see, they are to listen, and they are to report to parties what they see in the United States. I told a professor just yesterday who told me that his Chinese students told him that of those students, 1 out of 10 of those students is actually a spy, raised as a spy from the time they were in kindergarten. So, if the president were to say, I don't think these Chinese students should be coming to America, there'll be a big hullabaloo, but one can see the justification for it.
But one of the other stated goals is to root out anti-Semitism. Do you think that's possible?
Yes. Yeah, yes. I mean, they obviously have to do a much better job than they've been doing. And the question there is, are they discriminating? And are they letting acts of discrimination take place without preventing them? And surely they are. That's everybody has seen that on TV. Consider that contrast with the University of North Carolina. You remember that, where those students came up and they would not let the American flag hit the ground, and the